All right, hey YouTube. So this is part something of my natural medicine versus modern medicine series, and so I want to talk today about how I cured my diverticulitis with kombucha. So about 10 years ago, if you don't know what diverticulitis is, it's pretty common, I guess, as you get older. I'm 55 now, but about 10 years ago, and been a drunk a lot of my life, or half drunk, 25 years or so. We'll talk about that another time, but I was still drinking back then, and I've quit, basically been quit for almost 10 years, but had a relapse or two. But anyway, um, so I was having problems with diverticulitis, which, if you don't know, you get these little pouches form in your intestines, and food can get caught in there and get infected. I think diverticulosis is the condition, and then when you get an infection, it gets severe. They call it diverticulitis. And let me tell you, when you get one of those infections, it's no fun at all. I had like 3 of them. And Zora, relax. Zora's chasing the roosters. Um, it's no fun to have that diverticulitis. So I had like 3 of those attacks where, I mean, it's really, really painful, and your stomach seizes up. And all right, Zora, stop. As we talked about before, Zora doesn't like the roosters. Everybody's coming in. It's the end of the day. So the roosters are squabbling, and Zora's checking the roosters out. I'm looking at number 1 in the pecking order right there. He's a real sharp rooster. See if I got a good picture of him here. He's the boss rooster. You know, little chicken sex almost happened there. But anyway, so yeah, the diverticulitis, you get this food caught in your intestines in a little pouch. It gets infected. Leave those roosters alone. And so they were giving me these big, giant horse pill antibiotics to get rid of the infection. But then, you got to be really careful about what you eat. And just it's like a constant discomfort I was having. And, they were talking about, I guess when it gets real severe, they cut the bad part of your intestine out. And I mean, they were telling me during one of those attacks, you can die. So anyway, I felt like I was going to die a couple times on that stuff. Well, with those attacks. Well, around that time, a friend of mine, fortunately not too much of a friend anymore, but I forgive him, whatever. But he got me brewing kombucha. He'd been brewing it for a while, and so I started drinking kombucha. Not really for the diverticulitis. He would just told me it's good all around, and it's true for your immune system and stuff. And so I started brewing it, and I really liked it. And I found, because I was a drinker and a drunk, that I found that kombucha was really good for hangovers. And, if somebody out there is drinking and, you're looking for a good hangover cure, kombucha is really good. It's a good tonic for your liver. Plus, you get vitamin Bs and stuff out of it. And then, probably shouldn't tell you this either, but it also makes a really good cocktail. I guess if you don't have a problem drinking, there's no problem me telling you about it. But get some good kombucha and make a vodka cocktail with some lime juice. It's really, really good. But anyway, I don't drink anymore. I'm a drunk, so. But anyway, so I was drinking this kombucha, and I was drinking a lot of it because I really liked it, and I started out with a couple gallon jars, and started brewing more and more, and I was drinking. I don't recommend you drinking this much unless you're trying to cure your diverticulitis or maybe dissolve a kidney stone or something. But I was drinking probably maybe sometimes a quart a day of good strong kombucha. Well, I'm not sure exactly how long. I was probably a month or so before I realized that my diverticulitis wasn't bothering me anymore. And it has, and I always drink kombucha, and I've been drinking kombucha. And like I say at the very beginning, I think God and the Holy Spirit were, leading me, and just intuitively, I knew to drink a lot of that stuff because I was chugging kombucha, all the time. And then when I was drinking at night, I was making, cocktails with it. So I drank a lot of kombucha, and I just all of a sudden noticed my diverticulitis was gone. And it has never come back since, and I can eat anything I want, as much as I want. and I never have any discomfort. I've never had any more of those attacks. So I'm here to tell you, if you've got diverticulitis, start brewing some kombucha and start drinking it, because it's very acidic, and I think it just, if you're drinking a lot of it like I was, it's just going to clean your gut right out. And I'm not sure how it worked as far as affecting those little pouches and things, but I'll tell you what, I don't, as I'll talk about some more in some of these other episodes, I don't go to doctors if I can help it, and I never really have. But I had to go to a doctor when I had that diverticulitis. That's how I was diagnosed, and they were giving me these big, giant antibiotic pills to get rid of it. So, I started drinking kombucha, and that diverticulitis was done. And when I was selling it at the farmer's market, I used to get a lot of compliments on it, because it's like anything. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And I flavor it different ways, do second fermentations with ginger and elderberries and different things. But I used to get a lot of compliments, because around here, people are very, there's a lot of natural kind of people that are into natural food and natural cures, and so kombucha, I think, kind of had a head start around here. It's very popular, I think, everywhere now. I see it in stores and everything, but the stuff that you buy in stores does not compare to a good homebrew, So I'm going to talk about kombucha. We're 6 minutes in. So if you want to brew kombucha, you need either stainless steel or glass. And a good way to start is just with gallon pickle jars, wide mouth, glass jars. And they usually sell pickles or hot peppers and stuff. Anything. You can buy them too. I think you can buy them online. But the recipe I use, you can use green or black tea. Green tea has more antioxidants, so I always use green tea. When I was selling it, I would always add a little bit of black tea, because it gives it a little more fuller flavor. Right now, I just brew it for myself, and I just use straight green tea. Try to get organic. Use organic green tea. You can use loose or bags, but you want to do about 30 grams per gallon of water. And right now, the maple sap's running. When the sap's running, I'm in Vermont, by the way, so maple syrup country, and I always tap some trees. Last year I made some syrup, but I don't have a sugar house or anything, but I boiled down a couple gallons last year. This year I'm just gonna, every year I always tap a few trees just for the sap, because I put it in soda bottles and seltzer bottles and milk jugs and freeze it. It makes a nice beverage in the summer. It's got electrolytes and stuff in it. It's a little bit sweet tasting, minerals. It's real good for you. But I brew my kombucha this time of year. I'll start with maple sap, and that's just one more, because the kombucha likes minerals. So you're going to do a gallon of water, and if you're in Vermont or somewhere and you're tapping maple trees now, use maple sap. But anyway, just regular, good spring water or well water. Don't use distilled water, and don't use municipal water. Nothing that's been processed, or chlorine or anything. You want good drilled well water or spring water. Don't use distilled water, because the kombucha likes minerals. That's why the maple sap works so good. There's a lot of minerals in there. But all right, so you're gonna boil your water, 1 gallon, and 30 grams of tea. Let your tea steep for a good long time. I leave the bags or the tea right in there till the tea cools down to room temperature. Then you're gonna add a cup and a half of sugar. Obviously it's better to use organic sugar. You can use organic white or organic brown. You can use honey or maple syrup, but that gets expensive. And I'm not really sure, how much benefit there is from using syrup or honey. So I just use organic sugar. And I ingest my raw honey and my maple syrup in other ways. But so it's 30 grams of tea per gallon of water. In your jars, you're going to want to, then stir in your cup and a half of sugar per gallon batch. Make sure your sugar is good and dissolved. I find don't stir your sugar in when your tea's hot and steeping, because that'll cool the water down. You want that tea to be real strong. So cup and a half of sugar, 12 ounces to a gallon. Then you're going to leave a little space in the jar, a few inches in the jar, and you're going to need a SCOBY, which you're going to have to get from somebody who brews. You can also find them online, I think. But the SCOBY is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, SCOBY. They call it a mushroom sometimes, but it's not a mushroom. It's a yeast colony. So you need a piece of a SCOBY, and you need some good strong kombucha to start with. You need a good 4 ounces anyway to start with of starter kombucha in your tea. Once you get going, you can do what they call a continuous brew. You can use more. I'm going to do a kombucha thing, but I think so I'm not 10 minutes on this video. I don't want to make these videos real long. So yeah, kombucha cured my diverticulitis. If you've got diverticulitis, stay tuned. I'm gonna go over kombucha. We may go into my kitchen and I might go through it, but I kind of set up here to do my videos. So, and then like I talked about before, flat Earth. Flat Earth is freedom. So freedom from the medical society, freedom from the enslavement. So, all right, peace and love. I love everybody out there, and I hope you have a good day and a good night. Bye.